Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. This is We the Future, and I'm excited that you're here. This is a little bit of a passion project we're going to start out here. So, there are a few of you that are close to me, friends and family who know that this is something that I've wanted to start for a while, and we're finally doing it. And we're going to get into a little bit more on that subject. But I just want to first start off by thanking you for being here, for listening. Whether you actively are tuning in and listening or watching this, I appreciate you. Or if you just scrolled past it on social media and you just happened upon it, thanks for listening in. I'm excited that you're here, and it means a lot to me that you are here. So for the very first episode, thank you. It It's been something I've wanted to do for a while, launching a show, a podcast, call it what you will. It's been on my heart for a really long time. For years, I've wanted to get involved locally, wanted to get my voice out there, be able to share my thoughts, my opinions, to talk to people about what's going on in our world and in our country and state specifically. I've had plenty of excuses, whether that's I'm too busy, life gets in the way, not enough time. To be honest with you, the biggest reason why I haven't started it is I just haven't felt like I was going to get it right. But with recent events that have taken place across the country, as well as here in my home state of Utah, I'm ready to start, right? The attacks that we've seen on freedom, free speech, on Christianity, it's something that has truly affected me more than I thought it would, and those events have inspired me to start. So here we are. I believe that God, uh, He puts things on our hearts and on our minds for a reason. And when He tells you to step, you step. So that's exactly what I'm doing today, and that's what I'm gonna do every single time we get together is step and do something that I feel called and inspired to do. So before we dive into this podcast and get much deeper, um, want to tell you a little bit about myself. Whether you know me, I'll reintroduce myself, or if you don't know me, let me introduce myself to you. I am Bryce Wheeler. I am a proud member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or a Christian. I'm a husband to my amazing wife. I am a father to two incredible boys and a dog dad to our little puppy. They're the reason why I work as hard as I do. They're the reason why I want to lead. And honestly, the reason why I care so deeply about this country, our freedoms, and the direction that everything is taking and heading. And honestly, the reason why I care so much about the future. Professionally, I have spent majority of my career in sales and leadership in various different businesses as well as industries, building teams, coaching people, and helping others find success. And while I love all of that, I love business, I love numbers, I love growth. What's ultimately uh, my biggest motivator or what drives me the most is helping people discover purpose, to live with conviction, and ultimately to lead with courage and faith. Now, I'm not a politician. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just someone who believes in God and believes in America and the foundation that it stands on, and believes that our best days as Americans are still ahead if we are willing to fight for them. So that's exactly what my my goal is. Call it what you will. Now, let me tell you why this podcast exists, why I'm going to be doing this show. We live in a time where it feels like truth and freedom is constantly under attack. Faith is mocked, freedom is questioned, and the values that built this great nation are challenged every single day and every single hour. And yet, at the same time, there's a rising generation, people like you, people like me, who are hungry for something real, hungry for leaders who don't just say the right things, but actually live them, hungry for conversations that are honest, grounded in truth, and be able to talk about topics that are hard, that challenge us. and that we need to have. That's what We the Future is about. Now, this isn't going to be a show where we talk about fluff stuff or random things. We're going to talk about current events, about what's happening in our country and in our state. We're going to talk about what's happening over the world, and we're going to do it through the lens of faith and freedom. We're going to ask tough questions. We're going to wrestle with challenges. We're going to fight evil in every form that it exists. We're going to search for the truth no matter what may be the cost. And my hope is that we're going to do it together, because there's a reality that we have to grasp and understand. We can either sit back and complain about the way things are, or we can step up and become the leaders and the people that God has called us to be. And this show is about doing exactly that, stepping up. So what does it look like in practice, right? Here's what you can expect from me, what you can expect from this podcast, this show, moving forward. Episodes are going to typically run around 30 to 45 minutes. The camera that keeps glitching out in the video feed, it's going to get fixed. We're going to smooth out all of the wrinkles. In each episode, we're going to break down current events, not just what happened, but why it matters and how it ties back to truth and freedom, and how ultimately it affects you directly. We're going to take time each week to focus on a faith-related topic. We're going to pull from scripture, from history, from life lessons that ground us in something that's bigger than politics or news cycles, right? Because at the end of the day, without faith, all the rest falls apart. And so that's going to be a big, I would say, theme with the show, right? Faith, Christianity, and how we can continue to live our Christian values in a world that continues to show us that it does not believe in, does not support, and does not like those values that we hold true to. Now, I'm going to be answering listener questions, addressing topics that you care about, and eventually my goal is to bring on voices and guests who matter. We're going to have conversations with them. We're going to dive deep into what they believe and what they hold true. And we're going to have, like I said, good conversations, but ones that challenge us and ones that make us better. Now, it's not just going to be me talking. It's going to be us hopefully talking together, walking together, and learning each episode so that we can continue to progress towards what we have been called to be. Now, I want to share my vision for the show because ultimately I think it's important you know where my vision is or what my goals are, right? My vision is not just to be a voice or a podcast or a show that runs multiple times a week. My vision is to build a community of people that have like minds, ones that have shared values, and ones that want to voice those opinions together, right? Not to be passive observers of the future, but to actually believe in what we're going to be talking about, who actually want to take a stand against what's happening in the world that we live in and in our country and our state, right? I want it to be a community of people who know that freedom isn't guaranteed, that faith is not optional, and that our children's future, the rising generation's future, is shaped directly by the choices that we make now and today. Now, I believe America still has a calling. I believe that God's hand has been in and on this nation since its founding. And I believe he's going to rise up and raise up a generation who won't bow to the pressure of culture, but who will stand strong in truth. And I think that's something that we've already seen, especially after the recent attacks on Christianity, freedom, and faith. And ultimately, that's why I decided to call this podcast We the Future, because you and I and everyone listening or watching this, we're not waiting for someone else to fix it, because we are the future. Now, let me pause here. I want to take time to share a personal experience, share a story. Now, I'm a father of two boys with my wife. and our first son was born in the fall of 2022. Now, if you were around then, and if you remember, which my guess is a lot of us do remember, the state of the world and our country and our state of Utah, it was going through quite a lot of challenges and just crazy times, right? Call it what you will. And I remember holding him one of those first nights that he was here and thinking, what kind of a world is he going to grow up in, right? And honestly, the thought of it shook me, right? New father, don't know what I'm doing already. Wife's asleep. I'm rocking our son. And I'm thinking to myself, what can I do about it? Right? What is my role? What is my call? Because really it's easy to get cynical in the world that we live in, right? Back then and especially now, to think that things are only going downhill, that the next generation won't have the same freedoms that we currently have, and to honestly think that the world is fallen and just doomed to hell. Now, all of those thoughts happening at a spiritual moment where I realized something and I was taught something, that my job isn't to predict the future, it's to shape it, right? My responsibility is to lead my family, to stand up for truth, to be a part of something better, and ultimately to be a part of building something better. And in that moment of realization is really the moment that I had the thought to want to do this podcast. Now, fast forward 3 years later, a house, a dog, another son, we're finally doing it. Because I don't just want to sit back and hope for a good future for my boys and for the rising generation. I want to build it, and ultimately, I want you to build it with me. So if you're listening to this, watching it, and it resonates with you, if you're tired of surface level conversations, news sources that you simply cannot trust, and watching our country's future hang in the balance, if you want a place where faith and freedom actually meet, if you believe that leadership starts with us, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Because this is just the beginning. But I believe it's something that starts small but is powerful. And it's my hope that I, I don't want you to just be a listener, right? That's my hope. I want you to be a part of this. I want you to share the podcast with friends, with family, to leave a review, to subscribe, to follow us on all of our different social media platforms so that you never miss an episode or video. And if you have questions or topics that you want to hear covered or discussed, reach out because your voice matters here too. Once again, this episode is going to be shorter than the rest, but I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this today, whether it be on, social media or wherever you are listening. The fact that you're listening to it shows me that you do care about our future, that there are other people out there with like minds that want to help shape the future for the rising generation and honestly shape it for us, the current generation. I believe that God has big plans for America, that God has big plans for the state of Utah, and has big plans for this show, this podcast. And I'm excited to take and walk this journey with you. Now, I apologize for maybe the lack of lighting or sound or video quality, but like I said, it's all going to get worked out, right? You take the shirt out of the dryer and you have to sometimes iron it. That's what we're going to be doing together, right? That's my job. But I hope that you know and remember that the future isn't something that we wait for. The future is something that we build together, right? So in closing, I appreciate you being here. Remember to be somebody that can stand strong and to live your values the way that you feel you're supposed to. I'm Bryce Wheeler, and this is We the Future. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.